You started a business, or you're thinking about starting one, and somewhere deep down there's this quiet fear that it might not work. Maybe you've already tried and felt that gut punch of watching something you poured your heart into slowly fall apart. Or maybe you're on the outside, looking in, watching other people succeed while you're still stuck trying to figure out where you even begin. Either way, I want you to know something before we go any further. What you're feeling right now is not weakness. It's not a sign that you're not cut out for this. It's actually a sign that you care deeply, and that matters more than most people realize. Here's the brutal truth that nobody talks about. Around 20% of businesses fail in the first year. By year 5, that number jumps to nearly 50%. And by the 10-year mark, roughly 65% of all businesses that ever open their doors are gone. Those aren't just statistics. Those are people who had dreams, people who sacrificed weekends, missed family dinners, drained savings accounts, and still lost. That's devastating, and if you've lived any version of that story, I genuinely feel that with you. But here's what changes everything. The businesses that fail and the businesses that thrive are not separated by luck or talent or even money. They're separated by knowledge. Specific, actionable knowledge that most people never get access to until it's already too late. And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. Because understanding why businesses fail is the single most powerful thing you can do to make sure yours doesn't. Now, before we go deeper, if you're serious about building something real and sustainable, we have related programs linked down below in the video description. They're not for everyone, and honestly, if you're the type of person who's comfortable staying where you are, don't even bother clicking. But if something in you knows that you're capable of more, and you're just missing the roadmap, what's down there could genuinely change the trajectory of your life. Go check it out when you're ready. Right now, let's get into this. The number one reason businesses fail is something that sounds almost too simple. No market demand. Think about that for a second. Someone spends months building a product, designing a website, creating packaging, investing thousands of dollars, and then they launch it into the world only to discover that nobody actually wanted it. Not because it was bad, but because they built something they thought people needed instead of something people were already desperately searching for. That's not a business mistake. That's a heartbreak. Before you spend a single dollar, before you design a single logo, you need to validate that real human beings with real money are already looking for what you're about to offer. Not your family, not your friends, strangers, people who don't love you and have no reason to lie to you. If strangers will pay for it, you have something. If only people who care about your feelings say it's great, you have a hobby. Now here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about cash flow, because this one kills businesses that are actually doing well. Imagine working harder than you've ever worked in your life, making sales, landing clients, feeling like you're finally getting somewhere, and then one morning you open your bank account and there's nothing there. Not because you failed, but because your expenses hit before your revenue did. That gap, that terrifying invisible gap between money going out and money coming in, has destroyed more promising businesses than almost anything else. The businesses that survive this learn one thing early. Profit is not the same as cash. You can be profitable on paper and bankrupt in real life. The fix is obsessive cash flow management. Know exactly what's coming in, what's going out, and when. Build a buffer. Treat your financial runway like oxygen, because that's exactly what it is. Here's a pattern that shows up over and over again. Someone discovers a business idea, they get excited, they go wide, trying to serve everyone, offering everything, spreading themselves impossibly thin. 6 months later, they're exhausted, confused, and earning nothing meaningful. Meanwhile, someone else takes a tiny slice of that same market, goes impossibly deep into it, becomes the obvious go-to expert, and earns 10 times more with half the effort. Specificity is not a limitation, it's a superpower. The riches are in the niches, and that phrase exists because it keeps being true. Let's talk about something that cuts even deeper. Most people who start businesses are incredible at the thing they do, the baker who makes extraordinary cakes, the developer who builds flawless software, the designer with a genuinely unique eye. But being great at your craft and being great at running a business are two completely different skill sets. Nobody tells you that. You just find out the hard way when you realize you've been working 60 hours a week for less than you made at your old job, and now you also have to deal with taxes and legal issues and marketing and client drama and everything else nobody warned you about. The businesses that survive this transition are the ones where the owner commits to becoming a student of business, not just their craft. They read, they invest in learning, they find people who've already solved the problems they're facing. They stop trying to figure everything out alone. And this is where the gap between people who struggle for years and people who accelerate fast becomes painfully obvious. The accelerators are not smarter, they're just not doing it alone. Now let's flip this completely. Because I don't want you sitting here feeling crushed. I want you to feel what's actually possible when you get this right. Picture waking up on a Tuesday morning without an alarm. You open your laptop and there are new orders, new inquiries, new revenue that came in while you slept. Your business is running through systems you built. Your clients are getting incredible results. Your bank account is growing month over month. You have the freedom to pick up your kids from school, to take a real vacation, to say no to things that don't align with your values. That is not a fantasy. That is what a properly built business actually feels like, and people are living that reality right now. The difference between you and them is not capability. It is not intelligence. It is information and execution. The people thriving had access to the right frameworks at the right time, and they applied them. That's the entire gap. And that gap is closable. Here's one more thing most failing businesses get brutally wrong. They don't understand customer psychology. They don't know how to communicate their value in a way that makes people feel understood. They have an incredible offer buried inside confusing language that nobody connects with. The businesses that win speak directly to the pain, the dream, the fear, and the desire of their customer so precisely that the customer feels genuinely seen. When someone feels understood, they trust you. When they trust you, they buy from you. And when you deliver real results, they come back and they tell everyone they know. That cycle, that beautiful compounding cycle, is what separates a struggling business from a thriving one. If you've been nodding along to any of this, if any of this has hit close to home, that reaction is important. That feeling you have right now, that mix of recognition and possibility, listen to it. Because most people will watch this, feel something shift inside them, and then go back to doing exactly what they were doing before. And a year from now, they'll be in the same place wondering what happened. But some of you are different. Some of you are going to do something about it today. The programs linked down below in the video description exist for exactly that kind of person. The one who is done waiting for the right moment. The one who understands that the cost of staying stuck far outweighs the cost of investing in the knowledge that changes everything. People who've gone through what's down there have rebuilt failing businesses, launched profitable ones from scratch, and finally created the freedom they've been chasing for years. If that's what you want, the link is right there. Go get it now, because the version of you that waits has a very different future than the version of you that decides,